Hi guys, welcome back to the podcast, the Paint, Paper and Palettes podcast, and I'm here again with Izzy.
Hello.
Izzy, how have you been?
Very, 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 very busy. I've been really focusing on expanding my shop. So I've been working on that. I've rebranded, which is very interesting to talk about later. And I think you cannot have missed this. I have discovered something amazing in a budget store that is very known here in Europe.
Actually, I have them right here. I have them right here.
I bought a new bunch again.
Yeah,
Here they are.
You've seen it on Instagram. Izzy has been posting about these brushes from the Action.
Yes.
And
the story is actually very funny.
Yeah, I'll let you tell it.
So I went to the Action, and if you don't know what the Action is, it's like a super affordable budget store that literally has everything from interior design to candy to chips to everything, and even art supplies. And I was walking around the store thinking, okay, what could artists use? What is actual valuable from the Action that is pretty good for artists to use? And I was sharing that on Instagram. So I saw these brushes. They're in mint and in pink. And first I said, I would not recommend these for watercolor because it's Action. Mm-hmm. But for gouache, I thought they would look really, really nice. They had a fine tip. And I thought they would be great for gouache. But then I got home and tested them. And boy, was I surprised. I started trying them with watercolors, not expecting much. My point was to make a story about why these brushes aren't pretty good for watercolors. But then it turned a 180 and they are actually amazing. And I started ranting about them. And then suddenly people were tagging me that they went to the Action and bought them. And it was like one after another. My DMs were like, ping, ping, ping. Oh my God, I need to go to the Action. And people actually went and got them. And a couple of days later at my own Action, I went there and they were sold out. And I was like, did I do that?
I think I've seen at least like 12 or 15 people. And that's from my perspective, like that's like a lot of people that bought these. And
there are so many people who bought them.
And I wasn't going to buy them because I'm an art supply snob. And,
yeah, me too.
And I want like whenever somebody says, "Oh, I got my art supplies at the Action," I'm already like, "Yep, those aren't real art supplies."
Me too.
So I didn't want to buy them, but then our mutual friend Zoibu, she was like, "You have to get them. You have to get them. I'm gonna take you to the Action. I'm gonna buy them for you." And she bought me the set, and I was like, "Okay, I guess." And then I tried them. I was like, "Oh, these are pretty." I don't want to admit it, but they're actually really good.
Right? I had the same thing. Like, I don't want to admit it, and they are not high-end brushes. Okay, so don't expect Princeton Velvet Touch. You know, they are six brushes for €2.
Yes,
you cannot expect a lot from them, but for Action, for a budget store, to me they come very close to Gerstecker's own brand, or even Da Vinci's lines of brushes. I'm like, these are pretty much the same level. The synthetic lines, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whoa.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know how long they're gonna last, but I've been working on this big A2 piece, and I've worked on it for 5 hours today, and they lasted at least 5 hours.
That's great. I expected, to be honest, the handle to come loose from the... Oh no, wait, the aluminium thing. Mm-hmm. I expected it to come loose from the handle, but it still hasn't, and I've been using it pretty much.
Yeah, the only thing I've noticed is that the tip, because it's like white with a little bit of pink, it discolors really quickly.
Yeah, it discolors really, really fast, and even with my own brand of soap, it's really hard to get it out simply because it's white, and once it's stained, it's just stained. It's like hair color.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But other than that, they are great. I even bought extras for people who don't have an action. Especially my members. They're like, oh, I wish we had an extra here. And I'm like, you're a member. You're a Brit member, right? Oh, I can send you some. It's no problem.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
that was my
Crazy.
week. It was a lot. How was
Yeah.
yours?
Well, you kind of know already, but so
But the
last
people listening
week,
don't know.
yes, I know. So last week, that weekend, I had Comic Con. So I had been working really, really hard towards Comic Con and really overworking myself.
You've
And
been
then
working like crazy, girl.
yeah, and then I had the weekend, which was really busy. And then I got home and I was kind of feeling sick. And then the rest of that week, I just spent in bed because I
Oh.
had, I don't know the English word, is really difficult for it, but it was some sort of throat infection. And I had to get antibiotics and stuff, and I just had to like lay down and rest. But I had my shop update planned last weekend. So even though I had to rest, I
My
also
God.
had to make my pictures and my listings and my stuff for
Yep.
my shop update. So
Yep.
every time I felt a little bit okay, I had to like work on the shop update. So that's that. The shop update went very well. So in first, like when the launch happened, I had these new. You've probably seen them. I had these new palettes with like the little sculptures on top. So
Yeah, they're
and
so cute.
yeah, and I made this whole story about them that they are painter's pet and that you have to share your first bit of paint with them and that they will create alongside with you and like they'll give you
They bring you luck.
they bring you luck and inspiration and happiness, something like that.
Yeah.
And I had this whole branding, but they were pretty expensive, so I didn't really think they would sell well. And at first they didn't. They didn't really sell well. I think I sold one on the first day or maybe two. And the shop update was kind of like very slow. So I had like 8 orders, I think, on the first day, which is not a lot. But then on the second day, I think people were like having this idea in their head. So the second day, I also got like 8 to 15 orders, somewhere in between.
Oh wow.
So and I normally I have my orders at the shop update day, and then
Yeah.
only a few after. But now I had like that amount on the day after, and then on Tuesday I also had like 4 or 5 orders, but they were all pretty big. So in the end I had like 25 something orders. And it was a pretty good shop update. Like I can't really make enough money with my shop updates to live off, but it certainly was a very good amount for me to continue working, continue ordering products,
That's great.
pay my taxes, advisor person.
Yeah, that's important.
I just packed all the orders and shipped them out today. So it's a little bit late because they ordered on Sunday and today's Friday. So that's about like I maximum want my orders to be here for a week. So 5 business days is about the maximum I want to take for something to ship out. But yeah, and now I just have this big thing I'm working on right now, but I have quite some time for it still. And then I don't really need to do anything. So
that's really nice. Great week.
All right.
Except that you were sick. I don't like that.
Yeah, it's part of life.
Yeah, part of life.
All right. Before we get into the main topic, we want to do some relax working, creative work while we're recording the podcast. Issy, what are you working on?
It's not really creative work what I'm doing. I'm actually I've been working on a wholesale order in the last couple of months, and it was delayed a lot of times. I went on vacation, and then the heat wave came,
Mm-hmm.
I decided not to work during the heat wave because it's just too damn hot in here. But now I'm actually finished and I'm labeling all the little. Wait, I could show you all the little bird paint
Oh,
pans.
yeah, nice.
They're
So
so
you're
cute.
almost done. You almost can send it out.
Yeah, this is basically the beginning stage of my packaging line. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy. I'm always happy to do this because then you just know that they will leave and go to their new forever home.
I am. I'm just doing some crocheting, more crocheting. I have some granny squares in front of me.
I was about to ask, are you gonna make granny squares again?
Yeah, I'm gonna make more granny squares.
They're so
I
fun to make.
I now have about 100 finished.
What
So
are you
that's
making?
well, I think I'm making a blanket, but I'm not entirely sure yet.
You just like making granny squares.
Yeah, because I was like, I made my two hot water bottle covers,
Mm-hmm.
and those were both 24. No, they were both 12 granny squares per piece.
Mm-hmm.
So I made
Per piece.
24 granny squares for that. And then I was like, okay, I want to make something else, but maybe I want to make like a kimono jacket or a
Oh,
crop top
cute.
or some other kind of jacket, or I'm gonna make a blanket. But a blanket is a lot of work because I
That's
calculated how many granny squares I need for that, and that's gonna be around 480. Which is a lot of granny squares. So I have about 100 now, which is already a lot, but it's not nearly enough for a blanket. So I guess we'll find out. I'm just gonna continue until I'm done with granny squares. Whatever it's gonna if I have enough for a project, that's what it's gonna be.
That's a great mindset. Because then
That's
it's never a fail. Like, it could also be a baby blanket.
yeah, and I think a lot of people are like doubt really scared to start big projects because they're like, oh, I'm gonna quit halfway through and then it's never gonna be finished. And that's like great about granny squares. You can just say, okay, my project is one granny square, and I'm just gonna do like a granny square today, and then I can figure out what it will be
Yeah.
later. It can even
Yeah.
just be like a coaster, like one granny square
Yeah,
is just
could
a
even be a
coaster.
coaster, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy.
All right, let's get into the topic because we can talk about crocheting and stuff.
That's a whole new podcast.
That's not this podcast. This podcast we talk about our art business and about art stuff and not just about granny squares. Although I could.
No.
I could talk the whole podcast about granny squares.
We could paint granny square. Okay.
So you, like last podcast, we talked a little bit about how you wanted to rebrand, but you didn't do it yet. But like last week, you've started rebranding.
Like, I'm listening at you and I'm like, did I say that?
Yeah, I know because I've edited the podcast. but I want to talk about branding and about when to rebrand. When you first started out, did you have a plan in mind for what your brand was going to look like?
No. Does anyone? I mean, no, I didn't. I knew because I have a background in graphic design, desktop publishing. I knew I needed branding. I knew I needed at least a logo, something that represented what I do, who I am. But when I started out, it was so weird. I took like the shape of a glass Muller.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine that shape and then inverted it. So the like space around it was colored and the shape of the Muller was just white. And then I put it in a circle and it was like simply is design in I call it fancy lettering, but it's just like the font that looks like it's hand lettered in holographic stickers. And I think the color was some type of picture I've made from an abstract painting I did, with a lot
Mm-hmm.
of green and gold. Green and gold. That was my thing. Green and gold. But very quickly, I wasn't happy with that. And it was around the time I started getting to know other paint makers in the Netherlands,
Mm-hmm.
like Studio Creative Cloud, Cindy.
Yeah.
And because the cloud is in her name, she somehow unintentionally made the cloud her thing.
Yeah.
And I was amazed by it. It was so good. And we've met a couple of times, and I told her, I wish I had some kind of, the cloud is really your thing. I wish I had a thing. I didn't have a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Until I started introducing my birds to everyone, and everyone thought they were really cute and blah blah blah. And then Cindy actually said to me, you can make your bird your thing.
Mm-hmm.
So then I decided, I had a little following that knew me for my paint and my birds. So I was gonna make my whole branding around my birds. They were becoming my mascots.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really happy with that until like a couple of months ago, when I was planning I told you in another podcast that I'm planning to branch out and expand my shop with other things. But the bird and my name, Simply Is Design, didn't represent anything that has to do with art or paint making.
Yeah.
I mean the whole Simply Is Design, the Izzy design actually dates back from when I was a student, and I was still building websites and creating logos for people. So that's where the design part comes in. But are you designing paints? Not really.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really happy with it. I thought it was weird. I was contacting manufacturers, and even they were confused about what I do. So it was really time to rebrand again
Mm-hmm.
after 2 years of having Simply Is Design with a huge bird. I was ready to let that go.
Yeah. For you, it was like the you redesigned partly because people misunderstood the message that you were trying to give, like with your brand, and
Yeah.
also just because it didn't resonate with you enough. Like you
Yeah.
didn't really feel like uh, it really was something that you could stand behind. Uh,
Exactly.
mm-hmm.
But I still didn't want to get rid of the bird,
Mm-hmm.
because it has grown into something that is part of me and represents me, and people know me for. If you are a bird member, you know exactly of which paint maker you are a member of.
Yeah, and also I think you've done the charity for the birds a couple of times. Like you did
Exactly.
a charity sale a little while back where you raised some money for a bird
A bird
shelter.
shelter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's still something that you care about. And of course, you have birds because you care about
Exactly.
birds.
I have the
Mm-hmm.
birds. They are still my mascot, but I didn't want to have them prominent on the foreground. So I kept them, or at least I kept one of them in my logo.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just small, but it's still a part of me. And then the rest of my branding, I really thought about it. At first, I thought I should drop the design, so just Simply Izzy,
Mm-hmm.
because it is basically, especially with social media, it is mostly me talking about uh, things that I do or things that I make, or other funny stories or funny reels, and people know my brand and my face is like one thing. So then Instagram actually didn't allow me to call myself Simply Izzy.
Mm-hmm.
So then I thought, why not just Izzy?
Yeah.
So now it's just Izzy, except for Instagram, because Instagram doesn't allow it. You know who has an Izzy profile that's just named Izzy on Instagram? Some kind of dude with 18K followers, but has no posts. How unfair is that?
I actually know. So somebody that I know, he gets a lot of messages from random people that people want to buy his name. Because apparently he has a very well-known name and he's like the original. And now, like people that have that name want to buy his Instagram username. So you could try that with the original Izzy.
18K followers, no posts. I don't think that there's a person behind
No,
it.
no, me neither. Or he's just like he bought all the followers. I don't know.
That could be true. Could be true.
So for I'm just going with like, so now your username is Izzy Watercolor Art, Izzy Watercolors, and your art
Yeah.
account is Izzy Watercolor Art with a dot
Yes,
between Izzy
with
and
a
watercolor.
dot between them.
Yeah.
It's also kind of if Izzy wasn't allowed, I wanted watercolors behind it because it is easier for like searching.
And people remember you as a person who makes watercolors. So
exactly. Yeah. So it's easy to do. Oh, it's Izzy something with watercolors, and then poof, there I am.
So I remember when we started with the textile art business with my mom. When we started out, we had to go to the KVK, which is like the place where you apply your business. And you have to tell them what your business is named. And we were gonna sell like these yarn, and it didn't make sense to apply with our name. It wouldn't have made sense to apply a yarn business under Marijke Bongers, which is my mom. So we thought about a name, and then we were looking online like, okay, we wanted first we wanted to call our shop Sweet and Simple, I think, because that was what we were going for. We were going for like sweet colors, so pink, baby blue, cream colors,
I actually like the
stuff
name
like
Sweet
that.
and Simple.
So we wanted to go for Sweet and Simple, but that wasn't available. So in the end, we went for Sweet and Simple Stuff.
Wait. What do you mean? Stuff.
Yeah.
What do you mean? It was you went physically to the KVK and they told you it's not available?
Yeah, and we searched online if the domain was available, if we could make a website under that name.
Like that. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So there was too much confusion searching up that name. So we went for Sweet and Simple Stuff. Which is like, it already sounds like a lot worse because you just put stuff behind your brand name. It already makes it feel like it's it already makes it feel like it's less luxurious.
Yeah, it sounds a bit cheap.
It sounds a bit cheap. So and for a while, like I was 12 when we opened the yard shop, I think.
Aww.
And it's like I was making crochet mouses and crochet bunnies, and I would make the patterns and I would sell the dolls that I made and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then after a while, we went more into the like ecological yarns. We went more in the luxurious fibers and stuff. And now I keep using the word stuff. we went more into like textile art, where it's like we repaired clothes, but we also made an art piece out of it. So it wasn't just like, oh, we're gonna repair this very neatly, but it was more the visual mending. It wasn't that big back then, but we were doing a lot in that direction. And the name Sweet and Simple Stuff just didn't fit at all with the vibe that we wanted to get, like with our and my mom did a lot of natural plant dyeing, so she would gather the plants and then she would figure out how to make the color of the plants last the longest.
Oh, cool. So she would do that herself?
Yeah, and she would dye the
That
yarns.
is luxurious. Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, and we had all these beautiful natural colored yarns, and that's like. And then we changed our name into Eco Textile Studio, I think.
Oh, that sounds fancy.
Yeah, and also we were going less into the yarn shop and more into the we are creating our own line of clothes, which are partly thrift thrift shopped and adapted, and partly handmade from scratch, but with ecological stuff. And I think that the name Eco Textile Studio worked very well for what we were doing back then. But you have to see that, like, you can't really choose something that, like, at one point you feel like something really resonates with you, but over the years you're going to change as a person, and your interests
Yeah.
are going to change, and whatever you want to sell
Absolutely.
is going to change. And that's why we like changed name, and eventually my mom stopped with the yarn store, and she doesn't really do like clothes on commission anymore, but she's just like making art for herself. And she made some art for Extinction Rebellion, like as protest clothes and stuff. And she felt like Eco Textile Studio didn't really fit the new art that she was making, because she wasn't really a studio anymore. So now she just changed it to Marijke Bongers, to her name.
Yeah.
So when I was starting out with my illustration, I was like, okay, a lot of people have like their in their name they say like, oh, I know somebody that's called Anna Draws. Like, there's a lot of people that have like Sarah Scribbles, uh,
Oh,
uh,
like that.
Ross Draws. Like, they have in their name that they are an illustrator. And when I started out, I was like, okay, am I going to pick a name? Am I going to brand myself as an illustrator with my username? Do I want that? Of course, that makes it easier when you're commenting on other people's posts. They can see right away that you are an illustrator, so they might click on your name and they might find you. So that's for you, of course, the same. If you have Izzy watercolors, when people
Yeah.
will see your username, they will see, oh, Izzy probably makes watercolors.
No way.
But for me, I was like, okay, I do want to be an illustrator, but I don't know what kind of illustrator I want to be. I don't know if I'm going to make a comic. I don't know if I'm going to do big paintings. And I still like textile arts. So I don't know if I want to include that in my work. And now, of course, I make ceramics. I make a lot of ceramics, and it's become a huge part of my brand. And if I had picked the name Caitlin Draws or something like that, then it wouldn't have made like a lot of sense to come on a profile that only sells ceramics or like sells a lot of ceramics.
I understand that. Yeah.
So that's a little bit that's the struggle, and I'm really glad that I went just for my name, because it allows me the freedom to just do whatever. But it's also like a little bit of people are confused because they might not be sure what they can expect from me.
Yes, but yeah,
So
it's hard because because illustration and ceramics is pretty, yeah, it's pretty far from each other. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But on the other hand, you used your name for a while now, and people know you for uh, the one who's always drawing everywhere. That's how I know you.
yes,
And who makes palettes. So I think it makes sense to use your name for what you're doing. I think it fits you.
yeah. And I thought about like the people I follow online and the people I follow on YouTube. And there's a lot of artists that I follow. Like, there's artists that I follow that don't use their own name, and there's artists that I follow that use their own name. And I feel like I can connect more with people who use their own name, because I feel like I know who they are. and there's a couple of artists that I follow that don't use their own name, and they do introduce themselves every video, but I still forget their name. I just know them by their username. And somehow that gives me like a less of a connection with these people. I can't really remember them as well as where, for example, Lee Alexson is a YouTuber who paints a lot. I'm remembering her very well because I can see the person in front of me. I see the face because she shows herself a lot. I remember her name because that's what she goes with, and then I can also see the art. Where with other artists I have a less complete picture because I might only like have the username and their art, and I might not know their real name or like. So that's what I was thinking about, and because I can remember most clearly the people that go with their own name, I decided to go with my own name too.
Makes
Uh,
sense. If you tell it like that, it actually makes really good sense that people go by their own name.
mhm. I do kind of wish I picked a fake last name though. I kind of wish I picked a fake last name. Like it would have been a little bit more difficult to search me, and also I've had some people contact me from like way back because they searched my name to see how I was doing, and then they found my
Oh
YouTube
yeah,
channel.
and then they found your YouTube channel and like, oh, you're doing YouTube.
Yeah, so I kind of wish I picked a fake last name, but well, whatever. When I'm gonna get married, I'm just not gonna tell you guys my new name.
No, yeah, keep it private.
Just
Well,
gonna
actually,
keep.
I do. It's the same thing. Like when people regularly ask if they can send me something, which is fine, and then I give them my address and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But just like with online shopping and giving my people my name and address, I use my maiden name
Mm-hmm.
and not my new official name. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just whenever I get mail, like physical mail in my mailbox, and it says my full name plus uh, my new last name. Since I got married, I'm always like, "Who's this? Who has sent me this? Who knows? Who knows this name? This is not from one of my Instagram friends. What is this?" And whenever it says my maiden name, like, "Oh, this must be someone from Instagram." That would be great. Or I ordered something, you know.
All right. I feel like we talked a little bit too long about just names, and that was my fault because
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Doesn't matter. Doesn't
I
matter.
did this whole talk about the name stuff, but there's of course more to branding than just the name. Are there any active choices that you make a lot when you, for example, pick packaging or when you pick colors for your brand? Or and did you always do that, or did you just like gravitate towards colors that you liked and that's become your brand?
No, because my very first, like I told you, the very first logo was had to do with an abstract painting I did in green and gold.
Mm-hmm.
It evolved in green and yellow because
Mm-hmm.
you cannot. It's really hard to represent gold on your website, so I chose yellow.
Yeah.
And I wanted to keep that one because I like the combination of yellow and green, but two, I feel like it also has a sense of people recognizing the color combination. If they
Mm-hmm.
see it might be unintentional or how do you say it might be like they maybe not aware that they
Mm-hmm.
recognize it, but I truly believe that that a certain combination of colors in combination with how you, for instance, stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
For how you make your stories, how you write your text in which Instagram font and then which color. I really believe that without looking at the username, people know this is a story from Izzy.
Mm-hmm.
Just because branding is more than just a logo. It's also it's a whole style. Like you say, with your packaging, everybody knows that when they get a package from me, it's usually a brown small package with like full of stickers, like a little heart here and a bird there, and their personal name written on the front, and then the ugly shipping label is on the back, and that kind of stuff. It's like they know it's a package from me. And the same thing goes for my stories. I like to use a certain font that I also changed with my rebranding, because before I used the typewriter font on Instagram, and now I switched to another more dyslexia friendly font. If that helps. So yeah, that is what I do. Those kinds of little things.
It's actually funny because when I started out, I didn't really think about, oh, I'm gonna brand in this way, but I just was like, okay, I'm just gonna buy like this. I'm not gonna buy tissue paper because I know a lot of artists make tissue paper which they pack, but I didn't want to make that because that was too big of an investment. And
Yeah, it's
also,
really expensive.
I really felt like it was kind of a waste because it's something that people will throw away most likely. So
Most likely, yes.
I bought this big pack of like recycled paper, very thin recycled paper, because I like that if you know the store Dille and Camille, which is another Dutch store, when you buy something there, they will pack it in this recycled
Yeah,
paper.
paper.
And I really liked that look of like this is just natural recycled
Yeah.
paper. So that's what I packed all my orders in. And then to give it like a little personal touch, I tied a ribbon of recycled sari silk.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I still do that because my mom's yarn shop had a lot of recycled sari silk left over, and we weren't using it, and we didn't really sell it, and we still had so much. And I was like, oh, I can decorate my orders with that. And it wasn't really a very active decision to make it my brand, but I was just like, oh, I think this looks nice, and this is like my vibe, and
Yeah,
that's how it
but
happened.
that's just it.
And then people started messaging me, and they were like, oh, I see people do unboxing videos, and I recognize straight away that it's like your package because
See?
yeah.
But that's also branding. It with me. I feel like I sell a luxury item. I see handmade watercolors. I see that as a luxury. So I always like to package it like a little gift. So it has a label. It goes into a little packet with a little business card. I somehow I regret it, but also that is now part of my brand. I have these holographic small plastic baggies that I once bought in bulk because I had one customer where paint arrived soggy and wet because of the weather. So to protect them, I bought these holographic sleeves, and because they're holographic, they're awesome. But they're from plastic, and I didn't want to use them anymore. I wanted to use more eco-friendly packaging, but I still have all these holographic packets, so I'm still emptying them. But now they are part of my brand. So they see the holographic package, they know it's from Izzy. And then I put like you said, the little tissue paper, which is also green. It used to be black, but now it's green with gold, because I found a supplier who sells tissue paper in green and gold. And then you get a little sample, and you get a little either tea or candy, and then I wrap it all up with the golden stickers and being like super cute. And that fits my brand. But when you tell me about your packaging, and it's eco-friendly paper and with recycled ribbon made from recycled fabrics and all that kind of stuff, that also fits your brand, because I feel whenever you're making your palettes, because you hand make all of them one by one without any, you don't pour, you don't have like how do you say it, like a mold. You make every cup every artist cup, every palette you handmade, and it's all very organic, and the whole organic feeling really fits your brand.
Yeah, it's also something,
Organic and eco-friendly and stuff.
and because I like, if I look at my brand, I know I am a brand because I um like how I present myself on Instagram, and I have my web shop, and I like when I'm going to talk to customers who maybe want to commission me, like I am my brand. So when I talk about like thinking about my brand, I also think about how I present myself, like
Mm-hmm.
how I view life and what
Mm-hmm.
I find important in my life is therefore a very big part of my brand.
Yeah.
Um, I was talking to Tom about this. Like, I like to make stickers. I know stickers aren't really eco friendly, but I just like stickers. I think
I
they're
love
very
stickers.
cool. And there's a lot of sticker ideas that I can make, which might not fit my brand. I've been
What do you
making
mean?
so I've been making stickers of like cute animals. I draw a lot of cute animals, and
Yeah,
I've
but
been
that fits
drawing
your brand.
these stickers about uh, chickens. And I've drawn
I saw
stickers,
them.
and I've drawn a sticker about Butter, which has like the whole story. Butter is the rooster that my parents-in-law have, and there's like a whole story behind him. But like, I made this sticker, and it says "loud and proud." And
Oh, that's cute.
Tom really wanted me to make the sticker say "loud and obnoxious," which is funny, but it doesn't really fit my brand, does it? Like the word obnoxious. It's the same
No, the
with
word
these.
obnoxious doesn't fit you.
Yeah, and it's the same with these bags. I'm gonna show you guys. Like, I made these bags, and I made the Be Kind bags, and I also have the Be Wild bags. I don't have them right now because they're all sold out. But
Yay!
I had also had the Be Wild bags, but I made the Be Kind first because Be Kind really fits my brand.
Yeah.
And then somebody at the table was like, "Oh, you made the Be Kind. Now you have to make a be aggressive." And I was like, "I'll be aggressive. That's a great idea. I'm gonna draw like a little cat that is all feral and is like, be aggressive." But then people were like, "I don't feel comfortable with this," even though it
I am
was like a
upset
joke.
because you drew something.
Yeah, but I kind of get it, because be aggressive, first of all, is not really something that a lot of people want to uh like, they don't want to wear a t-shirt or a bag that says be
With be
aggressive,
aggressive.
because people don't really want to say like be aggressive is okay, even though it was like a joke.
It was a joke.
But then I changed it to be wild, and Be Wild is like a lot more playful, and it's not like promoting violence. And and then people were really like, "Oh, this really is like, it's playful. It's like not
Yeah.
over the top.
Yeah.
It's also a little joke about we are all these kind introvert people, and we get to be a little wild sometimes." Like, that
Like I
was.
understand somewhere, like you have these brands whose main focus is um, creating products with texts that are provoking.
Yeah.
You know, like be aggressive. That could be something for their brands, but not for you. Even though I like it, I understand now what you mean with it doesn't fit your brand.
Yeah, and that's with what I see at Comic Con and at conventions a lot, is like a lot of people do like the funny joke stickers,
Yeah.
or they're like the meme stickers, things like that, and that's
Yeah.
cool. I like memes,
I
and
love memes.
I love memes, and that's funny, but I've been thinking about, oh, they sell really well. Should I also make meme stickers? But then I think about the arts that I make and the arts that I want to make and the things that I promote on my Instagram. And meme stickers don't really fit in there with me.
And I have these thoughts exactly the same. Like, I'm a paint maker and I want to branch out in art supplies. But then I can show you. I've been into lemons lately,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really
I saw
cute.
them. Yeah, they look great.
It's really cute. Thank you. I'm really happy with them. I feel like I've broken my cycle of my art block. Oh, and I'm actually taking your advice. I'm gonna put my little. I'm just gonna how do you paste the loose sketches next to them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning something. And I'm like, I want to make cards, like postcards with my print, and then
Mm-hmm.
something, But I'm just like, does it really fit my brand? I don't know. Like, I'm a maker. My brand is about art supplies, and now I'm gonna incorporate mm, my my cards and stickers with it. I don't know
Oh,
if
you
it
know what
fits.
would be really cool and what would fit? What if you
Here we
made
go.
like what if you made like a business card size print with like your lemon drawing on one side and then dots of the colors on the other side. And then you have
Oh,
like a
that's
little and then
cool.
you have like a little art print and then it's like the lemons and then you have the lemon dot card.
Shay. Excuse my language. That is really, really cool. I really like that idea. If I'm ever gonna make them, you're gonna get a set.
Thank you.
I really like the idea. Yeah, but yeah, it's the things we like. Oh, it would be fun to make stickers of this meme, and then with Doggo, because Doggo is so funny. But at the other side, maybe you could, because I think Doggo is starting to be part of your brand.
Yeah. I think so too. At least people buy Doggo snacks and I do the snack hauls on my Instagram.
Yeah, see?
And actually in this bag that I've just folded up, there I had to make I wanted to make like a quick logo to put in the inside of the bag.
Is
So
it Doggo?
it's Doggo. So it shows my name and it's just I'm gonna show it on screen, but it's just Doggo with the snacky ain't with the duck. With this duck, and then it just says Caitlin Bongers. So it's very
Look,
simple.
I'm just gonna say it. This should be your new brand logo. It's amazing. It's so cool.
And I just made it in like 5 minutes because I was like, oh, I need something to put on the
Yeah, but
inside
like the
of the
best,
bag.
the best ideas that make the most sense come from these quick thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely true. I love it. It's so cute. Oh no, yay!
And I do think Doggo is part of my brand,
I think
but
so too.
he's probably not going to be like very intense. Like there's these people that have like an art account and all they do on every single painting they make, they include like an element. So I know people that have like a ghost in every painting that they do, and I know people that have like a crow in every painting that they do. And
You mean like that is their signature?
yes, no, it's
Type
not their
thing?
it's not their signature. It's just that like the ghost is doing something in the painting. So it's like the character in the painting. And I don't think I'm going to
Oh, you
be.
mean like that? Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to be a person who draws Doggo in every single painting that I make.
No,
Because,
but it's the same thing with my birds. I think I've drawn my birds maybe once,
mm-hmm,
but they're still part of my brand because they are showing up in stories.
yeah.
Less frequent than they used to, but
I do
yeah, they still
sometimes
do.
post stories about Doggo because I feel obligated to supply my followers Doggo pictures.
Really?
Yeah. And there's actually
Oh.
people who are like, hey, how is the doco? What is the doco doing? And then he's just like laying like this. And then I'm like, okay, you can take a
But that's
picture.
not. I understand that you're like, if he's just laying there, it's not interesting to show people that. But okay, if they're asking.
Yeah. So I do like that he's part of my brand, but also I kinda feel like because animals don't live forever, and I know I'm gonna be
Yeah, it's gonna be hard
heartbroken.
one day.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be heartbroken on the day that Doggo is not here anymore, and if my whole brand is around Doggo, then that's gonna be extra hard.
Yeah, I get
Um,
that.
so yeah,
Yeah, so you're kind of protecting yourself now for the future.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, understandable, understandable. And that's the thing about branding. We now live in this huge digital world where branding is more than just a logo and a website and fonts and colors.
Mm-hmm.
I remember back in school, we had to set up a fake company and then create the whole branding around it, and everybody stuck with just a logo, brand colors, brand fonts, and like this whole guidebook on how you should create it. You should create the guidebook on how and where stuff is going to be. So this is like, if you're having a PowerPoint presentation, here's the logo, here's the title in this font with this color and this big, that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But these days, branding is so much more than that. I have seen branding books certain companies that are like pages and pages and pages long because they have to incorporate all the digital stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I love, I still love branding. I just love it. I just love that you can communicate a certain feeling just by branding.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for every business out there, branding is important. But I also feel like, because especially small businesses, because we pour our hearts in it and because we love our own business, the branding almost goes automatically, almost goes natural,
Mm-hmm.
because you are just being yourself, and you're just showing yourself through your branding, and I think that's amazing.
And if we look at art, at illustration, of
Yes.
course, branding could also be viewed as style. Like a lot of
Yeah.
illustrators talk about their style, and of course, their
Yeah.
style
Of
is
course.
also a form of branding.
Of branding.
And
Yeah.
I do really want to say that if like a lot of illustrators are really looking for their style, their way to be noticed, you know. And
Yeah.
I really feel like if you just let it progress naturally, you'll
Yeah.
find the things that you like, and you'll find the things that resonate like really with you and that you want to keep in your art. And that's how you slowly find a style.
Yeah.
But also, like, as an illustrator, I don't think you should really force yourself to just draw in one style. You can also experiment and do other things, because whatever you're going to make, you're still going to make it as like you as a person. You're still going to make the choices to make it look a certain way. You're still going to be influenced by the things that you like. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why, even though I work in a ton of styles for my feeling, like I feel like I do a lot of different things, and people still tell me that they can recognize my style. Even though for me it feels like I'm doing a ton of different things. But because I still like have my favorite colors and my favorite shapes and like stuff that I put into the paintings, it still like fits. Um, and I think a
Yeah. I
lot of
wanted to
young
say that too.
artists, yeah, like lot of young artists get stuck in. I have to find my branding. I have to find my style.
Yeah.
Um,
And I understand that, but it is also very, very, very hard. Um, if you decide to start your business and you're like, okay, I have to find my style, I have to find my branding. And if you force yourself, it's really, really hard to find inspiration and at the end be happy with what you created as your brand or what you decided upon. Did you decide it because well, I should have something, or yeah, I think this is good, or did it grow naturally?
And then you
And that's
can
why
just
I also think that rebranding isn't a bad thing.
and so
Changing it.
yeah. So you don't have to stick with what you pick in the beginning. So definitely when you order your first business cards and labels and logos and stuff, try to keep it very like a low amount, because otherwise you're gonna be stuck with your old branding for ages, and you're gonna grow as an artist, and you're gonna want something different.
And now here's the thing, why I'm laughing. I've been having my business cards for, I think, 2 years now. And the end of last year, I ran out of mine. 1,000 pieces. I ran out. I was so proud, and I was still happy with my branding. So I decided to order 2,000 because the more you order, the less you pay.
And now they're outdated.
And now they're outdated. But I have decided that I do not throw them out. I needed new. I ran out of my logo stickers that I put on packages. So instead of creating new cards, I needed the stickers anyway. I just doubled the amount that I needed, and now I'm gonna put the new logo sticker on top of the old logo on my card. That's the most eco-friendly and cheap way to do it.
But does your card say your Instagram tag?
Yeah, that's what I was doing before we meet. I've also ordered these labels that you actually can put through the printer. And these are the exact same size as it says Simply Is a Design. So now I'm gonna print here at Izzy watercolors, and then I also gonna just
you're gonna edit all your old cards.
Yeah,
that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, but I really don't want to, because I really like the style of the card. Like if I would put my new logo in a new business card, I would probably just keep the same style, just with a different logo. And I'm like, yeah, but if I'm going to order new business cards, I want to redesign the whole thing. And I really like them, so I'm just gonna keep them for now.
Yeah, I had my old cards for 3 years, and I really didn't like them anymore. And also it still said like my Etsy store, and I didn't use my Etsy anymore. So now with my new business cards, I actually printed them at home. They are stickers. They're not like cards, they're stickers.
Oh, smart.
And they just say like my email and my website that has my socials. So it just says like caitlinbongers.com/socials, and then it goes to my website, which has like my YouTube and my Instagram. And
all your links. So that's really smart.
So I just have one link and my email, and that's my business card. So that's also, I think, when you're starting out and you're not sure yet which platforms you're going to use. Like social media goes pretty quickly. There's always new apps on the rise, and I don't know which apps will be there in 2 years. So if you still want to use the same business card in 2 years, maybe something like a page which has all your links is a good idea.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful idea. I also started Pinterest last week. Making boards, uploading, like everything. I'm also going back to writing my blogs about interesting topics. So now I'm actually writing a blog about cobalt pigments and how cobalt is actually an issue, and because child labor.
Yeah.
But luckily, by the way, all my cobalt pigments are not from child labor. Just disclaimer: they're not from child labor. Before anyone is going to attack me. And then I'm linking the blogs to my Pinterest, and I recently silently reopened my Etsy shop, and I only put like 6 listings up from some older paint colors, just for the idea that I can reach new people through Etsy and push them through to my website.
I also silently reopened my Etsy shop.
See? But I don't want to put that on a business card. I don't want to put my Pinterest. I don't want to put my Etsy. My next business card is exactly how you say it. It's gonna be because it's always on the back, how to use my watercolors and some tips, and just my website. And that's it.
Yeah. I think this has been a great podcast, and if I look at my little list that I made, I think we talked about everything. Is there anything
awesome.
you want to add?
Yes. I want to have a tip. I have a tip for everyone. Don't heavily focus and go into the rabbit hole of branding, because with patience, it will come naturally.
That's a good one.
That's what I wanted to say.
Just focus on creating the stuff you want to create and do what feels right for you. And at one point you will feel like, hey, this is kind of my brand. Maybe I can add some things that like vibe with what I already have. And then you have a brand.
And then, whoa, I have a brand and people know me for that. Yay. So that's awesome.
Thank you guys so much for listening. If you have any brand tips that you've used, or if you have any struggles and would like some more advice, be sure to leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube.
Yes.
And if you don't have a brand, don't plan on having a brand, but still listened because you found it interesting, that's also really awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And in the next one, we are going to talk about some marketing tips, how we market before we do a shop launch, because I think that's going to be a really interesting one too. So I hope you guys are excited for that one, because I surely am.
I'm going to tell you all my secrets.
Right. See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.